Welcome, lovely one, to the Meant for More podcast. My name's Lisa Clifford, and I am building the world's most empowering Meant for More movement, leading millions of heart-led purpose seekers from feeling insignificant to invincible. So I truly hope you enjoy this next episode. And welcome, lovely ones. Today we've got the return of one of my favourite guests, Claire Ackers. And I say the return because we promised you in episode 2 following her instructor training course. Welcome, Claire. Thank you for coming to the podcast studio.
I mean, this is an utter delight, right? What a treat to be here on the pink sofa. We've got the fairy lights. I'm nestled in a nest of cushions, and I'm here with you.
Oh, we got a cup of tea.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're all on brand. We're unstoppable.
How are you since the training? We were just saying when you walked through the front door, I gave you the biggest hug because it was like meeting my sister again, and it's been a month, and I don't know where the time's gone. Yeah. So how have you been since the training?
Oh, well, I was saying to you before we press record, I can't believe that nobody sages me when I walk into a room. What's going on? And we had such a bubble of loveliness, didn't we, when we were doing the training? And the real world is real worlding at me, I think that is the best way to say it. But it's a little bit more tolerable, a little bit more... It's just changed since we've come back, and I can't believe it's been a month. But what a month it's been!
What a month, and what a week we had. We were just saying before we Claire and I kind of look at each other with our knowing look, like what a week we shared. It was, to me, so special, and to have you. Well, you being part of it is what made it really special. I think just the loveliest people came together, and not one of us the same as the next. How would you sum up, well, how would you describe that week?
First of all, I would describe it as fate. It was just like a convergence of the most beautiful people, both from the instructor side, with Kel and Mel and Rachel and you, of course, and the people that I trained with side as well. And we had some pre-conversations, didn't we, where we were thinking about, should I come to an earlier date, or would this day be right? And it just so happened that my birthday was on the day that we graduated. Yeah. And that for me kind of swung it. And I think every single little point validated that discussion. Yeah, we couldn't have planned it better, really. It just, everything that unfolded just perfectly, and it was exquisite. The time that we spent together, it really was. From the food to the conversation to the unscripted moments where you went off piste. I don't think you'll mind me sharing that. You went off piste and followed your heart, but it all unfolded exactly as it was meant to.
Yeah, those moments that Claire's referring to is when you see the group is in a particular space and they need to be held in that space a bit longer because the processing continues beyond the process. And so it's I think I started the training by saying transformation happens in the gaps. Not in the action. Amazing breakthroughs happen in the action and the technique, but the transformation is what happens in the breathing space. And you can write a program sitting here, and this is what we'll do at this time, and this is what we'll do at this time. But you've got to be willing to look at that group and think, what's the best thing for them? And you're so right, in those moments of me just building into my intuition of what do you all need was a journey for me as well. Because I think I'm, obviously coming from the highest good and doing the right thing, and it's only in your reactions and your responses and your acceptance that, and then what then follows, do you see, that was a good decision.
I'd just love to speak to that, if I may, because I've been on retreats before, and I know this wasn't a retreat, and we'll come on to this, where you've been frog marched from activity to activity, which I know is coming from a good place of trying to make sure you get your money's worth, but is so much is lost by not having that space. And when I run my retreats, that liminal space, that's where the magic happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think you have to, as a leader, you have to, and you do this so brilliantly, Lisa.
Oh.
You have to trust
yourself. I've got no
yourself.
idea what you're going to say next, but I like it.
You have to trust yourself to throw the plan out the window and go, no, this is what this group needs. And there's one moment that I keep coming back to, which was, I have no idea. I mean, time and space cease to exist, right? But there was one moment where you sent us off on our own to the grounds to do our own personal arrow break against a tree. That was, I can close my eyes and picture it now. I know there was daffodils all around. There was wild garlic glowing, just a hint of bluebells starting to come out in this little grove I found. And I wrote some words on that arrow that meant so much to me. It was like my line in the sand of, this is where it gets to change now. And when I was ready, I broke that arrow against the tree, and it was that own private ceremony. You know, those moments of genius that you can't plan for. You just need to go with. Are you familiar with the concept of thin places? Have you heard that term?
No, tell me.
So, I talk about liminal spaces, which is where it's the convergence where something's stopped, but the next thing hasn't quite come in yet, and you know that definitely happened on retreat. Sorry, on the training, but the concept of a thin place is where it's like a veil between the worlds, where I'm not religious, but it's where the divine can come in, where you can kind of touch the sublime, and that for me is what happened during the training. Was we weren't in this world. We were doing magic. We were doing transformational work, and I can't remember what question I was answering there, but it was just wonderful.
It was that going off piste.
Yes.
And that still knowing what the programme is and still delivering on that, but switching things around so that they fit better. But yeah, that but on your retreats, because we can speak about, I'd love to speak about your retreats and what you're offering to people and what they'll be able to experience from you. And the difference you think you'll be making now compared to before. Be curious about that. I know we don't know until you do it, because even you don't know until you do it if there's a difference. I know there's a difference in what you'll be adding in it. But I'd love to know what your retreats are going to be like moving forwards.
This is a great question, and do you mind if I rewind a little bit? And in case people didn't see the first one, I think it's important to know how I ended up here.
And this will be coming across as a chat between two friends, I'm sure, because it is.
I think people don't mind that. They like a bit of authenticity, right? Especially in your world.
It's real, yeah.
So, in October 2025, I was sitting in the audience of a conference, and I saw you at the front doing a piece, doing your talk, as it were. And at the time, I was building an entirely different business. And I'd done a firewalk with you before when I was 7 months pregnant.
Yeah. How many years ago?
How old? 7.
7.
7 months pregnant, 7 years ago. And we know about Bobby, the feral firecracker child. We've discussed that she is a result of walking through that fire. But I hadn't seen you. We hadn't really talked for 7 years, had we? And I sat in the audience at that conference, and it was like the world just slowed down around me like a movie. And I just had this sense come over me that I needed to stop what I was doing in my business and go and train with you.
Yeah.
And I've just turned 44, and I've had that sense only a few times over my lifetime. And I know I've learned that I need to just listen to that voice. It's usually inconvenient, but I know when I get that sense, that calling, that clob around the head, that this is something I need to do, that I damn well better follow it. And then I walked out that conference room, and there I was on a poster.
On my banner stand.
And I was like, right, thank you. That's my glimmer. That's my sign. and that's why I signed up. So that's how I ended up there. So I run something called the Rewilding Retreat, and it is the utter joy of my heart.
Oh.
Rewilding for me is all about coming home. It's a homecoming to who you are before the world told you who to be through connection with nature. It's 5 days in the Lake District for female leaders, women in business, a blend of business, of luxury and adventure. So we have a hot tub, we have a private chef, everyone gets a gorgeous double room with ensuite. It's a nice premium space, and I will drag your ass out of bed and get you up a mountain to see dawn rise.
Oh, wonderful.
I will get you swimming in a mountaintop tarn or an infinity pool. You know, there is adventure in there, and it's all about meeting your edge and finding out how brave you are. But it's very much ice focused, cold water, resetting your nervous system, recalibrating who you are, finding that transformation through nature and through cold water. And when I saw you at that conference, a business idea just popped into my head. I need to do a fire and ice retreat. And the fire, for me, is the perfect complement to the stuff I was already doing. I think you and I are very aligned on values. We're very aligned on how we move through the world and the impact that we want to have. But I knew you had God, it sounds too prosaic to say a skill set, but I knew you had some knowledge, some medicine that I needed to learn how to do. And so I came very humbly to the training. I came as a beginner. I'm very, very curious and just completely heart-led into it. And the original question was, how are my retreats going to change from here on in? I'm not sure the word's been invented. I'm not sure the words, because I thought they were pretty darn great already. Yeah. But what I know I can do with people now is just 10x.
Yeah.
I've got 3 retreats coming up this year, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but my gosh, they're not going to know what's hit them.
But don't be alarmed, do book.
They're all full.
Don't think about being hit.
They're all full.
Are they?
Yeah. They
amazing. How many people do you have on them?
I keep them quite small, so it's maximum of 8.
Nice.
8 or 9, because I want everybody to have a really safe, premium experience. It's really important to me. Yeah. I'm not a stack 'em high type retreat host, definitely.
I think people these days as well are looking to be in a smaller group. Yeah. Gone are the days of us spending our hard-earned money and investing in being one of 30, because we need more than that, actually. We need more, and we need almost accountability. You know, we need experiences that you look into the whites of our eyes and we're not blending in. Yeah.
Each woman who books a place on my retreat is giving me the gift of her trust and her time, as well as the money, of course. But it's my responsibility to make sure that she's seen and she gets what she's come for, and that I help keep her up here. And so that can't be a commodity. It can't be a numbers thing for me. I take that commitment and that accountability really seriously.
Yeah. It's heart treasured, isn't it? I remember doing that talk for Athena, but I remember seeing you in the audience, and you were right at my 12 o'clock. And I don't know if anybody notices it themselves, but when somebody's at your 12 o'clock, you feel their energy. But your face was really serious and deadpan, and I thought, this is what was going on in my inner world, because I'm human too. I thought, Claire thinks I'm rubbish.
Isn't it funny?
Yeah, Claire thinks I'm rubbish, and this is not stimulating enough. I don't think Claire's getting anything from it. In my mind, I was quickly going through this thinking, it's just such a great, and I shared that because I think a lot of people, when they see because what you were doing was processing. You were processing, holy moly, I'm building the wrong business. Lisa's me girl.
Yeah.
In my mind, I see a face that's serious, and I've got another story running. And then when I saw you put on LinkedIn a picture of you pointing at your face on the on my banner stand, which is a hug of Claire and I when she did the arrow break when she was 7 months pregnant, and it was just like I've got loads and loads and loads of those kind of pictures. But that one, it didn't. To me, it wasn't about did it look lovely. It was about the energy that I felt in that hug at that moment. Was one of my favourite hugs of all time.
Yeah.
And so it's really funny when the internal world saying you need to up your game, Lisa. You need to up your game, and then well, the reality was something quite different. The reality was not I'm bored. It's
I'm having an epiphany.
I'm having an epiphany. And so I think that's really important to share, isn't it? That when people's faces are looking one way, it does make us soul search a little bit. But what could be happening is the opposite to what you're thinking, and what a relief.
Which is another really important thing as a host, isn't it? To be able to set our own boundaries and look after our own energy.
Yeah.
So we don't get dragged into our own narrative, which is really tough to do when you're holding space for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. And whilst I was still having those thoughts, they were moving through my mind as though they were old patterns of thinking. You know, when you observe your thoughts and you thought, I can't be getting on that train. That train of those thoughts are not going to take me where I want to go.
Yeah.
So, just going into your training that you're going to be doing, so you've got your retreats.
Yep.
Then do you do other trainings as well?
Yes. So the rewilding retreats for this year are full. I am planning a fire and ice retreat for 2027, which I'm very excited about. This is hot off the press, so I hope it's okay to share it. But my cohort are doing brilliant work coming up with their Firewalk events, and I'm so proud of them, and I love cheerleading everything that they're creating, and I really hope I can get along to some of them. I don't want to do that. I want to do something bigger. So I want to create, it's almost like a mini rewilding. So the rewilding's 5 days in the Lake District, and I know that some people can't get to that. So I'm going to do a weekend, personal empowerment and transformation weekend in the Yorkshire Dales in October for a very special group of women, of which part of it is going to culminate with a firewalk. So I'm not doing an evening or a day event. I'm going a full weekend of personal transformation. Yeah. So that is absolutely hot off the press. I'm speaking to venues at the moment, but it's going to be amazing. I've got a let's say a list of very interested parties already from my circles who, I can't wait to share it with. I really, really can't wait to share it with. So that is happening. So in terms of other trainings that we do, so I run a business called Wild Edge Works. My background is 20 years as a business and mindset coach. You know, I love one-to-one coaching. That will always be the core of what I offer. So I work with a lot of authentic and values-led business owners to help them grow authentic and aligned businesses. That's the core of what we do. However, the older and wiser I get, the more I realise that we need experiential coaching. So everything that we offer at Wild Edge Works is designed to both give people those moments of awe, which is what we call standing on top of a peak, knowing that you did that under your own steam, or walking across that fire, or getting in that waterfall. It's all about that experiential coaching that both helps leaders remember how awesome they are, how brave they are, how resilient they are, but also it anchors in those feelings. It resets the nervous system at a cellular level and helps them level up their identity. So we have, as well as the rewilding retreats and weekend events, we do things called Trailblazer Days, which are one-to-one bespoke adventures. So previously, that would be a founder or a leader coming to us and saying, I've got a problem I need to work out, or I want to exit, or I've got a difficult decision and I need a bespoke adventure. And we'd say, okay, do you want mountains, forests, wild swimming, Yorkshire Dales, Lake District, Peak District, where do you want to go, basically? And we would design them an adventure and then coach them through our frameworks to get them the epiphany and the decision that they needed. So they still exist, but now we can now offer the extra suite of trainings that you've gifted to me. So the arrow breaks, the Glasswalks, the Firewalks as well. And I don't think there's a founder or a leader that doesn't need something of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. And when those experiences, or I'm speaking particularly of the arrow break and the Glasswalk, and when those experiences have done with a real sense of purpose, they're life-changing. And I'm guessing the same is for the mountain walking and the water. It's the purpose that we have to hold on to in the experience of the tool, if you like.
Yeah.
Because I see all too often, I saw a video the other day of a woman being facilitated to break an arrow into her fence, and there was loads of resistance for her, and I thought, that to me looks like that's just an action, and whoever's facilitating it, however newly qualified that person might be, not one of my world-class graduates, but somebody that I'm presuming had been trained by someone else, it looked like it lacked so much purpose and sacredness that it just became about pushing their throat against this arrow, against this fence. And what I know about you and all the other graduates is what we won't compromise is exercise over purpose. It's exercise with purpose. And I think, crikey, these experiences in your hands, in all these wonderful different locations, is just going to be absolutely gorgeous and embodied.
It's that intentionality, isn't it? And what I do, what you do, what we do together, it can be seen as gimmicky, and there's a lot of less than integrity fueled gimmicky firewalks out there and arrow breaks, and it's almost like we're coming from a position of not defence, but really having to stand in our power and say, no, we do it properly.
Yeah.
Same with wild water, the every single waterfall's on blooming Instagram.
Yeah.
But when it's done properly, with purpose, with integrity, with the right intention, it is utterly, utterly life-changing. And I don't think we can beat that drum loud enough that, there'll be so many people out there who don't get this. They just want the experience. They just want to tick the box and say, oh, I've done that, and move on to the next thing, and then wonder why they feel hollow.
Yes. Yeah. Or they say, I've done that.
Yeah.
And those that have done it with purpose talk about the change it's made rather than the thing that they did. And I'm so aware that so many instructors out there are going to companies and saying, I can do the arrow break on your team. And I'm thinking the arrow break is an exercise within a whole, in my view, in my trainings that have a whole day's training. And there's about 4 or 5 hours worth of stuff I do with the team that is transformational. And then we do the arrow break, and the arrow break serves a purpose. It's not about coming in and having the team break the arrow. The transformation isn't in that. It's in the work that we do that fuels that arrow and that arrow break. And that's what I think a message that needs to get out there is anybody that's selling an arrow break or rebar bend isn't giving a team or a company a lifelong lasting impact that has a model to it that is duplicatable to life. People will simply say, oh, I had a great day. We broke some arrows and stuff. But the arrow holds so much potential for people's continued transformation only when it's done right.
Yeah, completely.
So when you look back to the training, what surprised you the most about you And I know it's going to be a tough question because you look pretty unsurprisable about yourself because you're so consciously aware and in your growth.
That's a great question because, yeah, you're absolutely right. I love a bit of self-growth, self-awareness or personal transformation, all that stuff. I think what surprised me was how safe and ready I was to peel back a few more layers. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to share this because I think this will probably resonate with people. I'm very good at going as deep or as vulnerable as I need to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
So it's almost transactional. It's almost like, right, solve that bit, I'm on to the next thing. Whereas what this training did was create a safe space, and I know that term is cliche, but it's true, to peer under a few rocks that were lurking out of sight. It's not like I was ignoring them. It was the blind spots, right? The bits that we're not even lurking in the shadows, but it gave me a space to really do like a 360 on everything. It was like a life overhaul, and you were an expert at spotting when we were skimming over a thing and going, no, this is important. We need to dig into this before we move on. And I know that was true for me, and I'm pretty sure that was true for everybody else there as well. And we were so in tune as a group as well, weren't we?
Yeah, the space you all held for each other was gorgeous. And what I was noticing was, like, there's a program to teach you, and then there's the layer of the program that isn't inwards of, is there something within each person that they feel about themselves that's going to hold them back from believing either the world class and holding this training and delivering it in a world-class way? Because there was a lot of people do feel, am I world-class? You know, that feeling of I don't see myself that way. And so to be an instructor, to be a transformational leader, you have to have the transformation yourself, and it's going to that place that is most likely to get in your way of being that transformational leader, seeing yourself as that transformational leader, believing that you can really shift people. And so what I was noticing in the group was feeling where that block still was within people.
Yes.
And I really wanted that to be gone for each and every one of you, so that you could totally own exactly who you were and how you wanted to do it.
I think this is probably the biggest problem facing our society at the moment. We are in such a period of change as a society. Now, I'm talking about the AI revolution, right?
Yeah.
Every single bit of information that you could possibly want is available at your fingertips in 3 seconds. And what I'm seeing is people outsourcing their thinking and their creativity and their power to AI. And it terrifies me. It absolutely terrifies me. And one of my favourite phrases is, you can't chat GPT your way up a mountain.
Yeah.
You've got to go on the journey yourself.
Yeah.
You can use it to prepare, but you can't. You have to actually get your boots muddy. You have to get the dirt under your fingernails.
Yeah. Feel the weight on your back of your lunch.
Exactly that, but that nobody can take that journey away from you.
Yep.
And I've told this story about 3 times this week, but it's my favourite, so forgive me, I'm just going to go into it. Lord of the Rings, right? The biggest criticism of the Lord of the Rings is, why couldn't the Eagles just take Frodo the whole way to Mordor? Well, Frodo had to go on the journey. He had to go on the journey in order for that journey to be successful. And that's the same thing as we're talking about here, isn't it? Is that you could have given us some training videos and a manual and gone, right, there you go, there's all the information you need to run a firewalk. But it would have been rubbish.
And I could have just taught you, this is how you do it. I could have taken you through the how program.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some courses where you can learn to do the arrow break as on a one-to-one basis in one day, and it's something like 250 quid that's out there. But that's not teaching you how to read a group and what happens with the group and how you hold the group, because it's not just that one person learning how to instruct it. It's reading, where's everybody standing, what do you do when the group's getting nervous. It's a whole thing, and there's your experience in it. So when you are going through the instructor training, you're going through it as a participant, as a student, and as an instructor. You're straddling both roles. Like, I hold you in your excellence as an instructor whilst taking you on the journey as a participant. It is, one evening you were, we had a whole evening in silence because it's what the group needed, but you went from being in silence to firewalking in silence. And then the evening that you learnt how to fire tent, you went from, like, that was a really busy day we had that day, wasn't it? Because we learnt the arrow break facilitation, the board break, and then firewalk facilitation. You won't be able to hear this when it comes to edit, but above us are the fast jets.
The boards are rattling.
The high flyers.
Right.
That's what we are.
We've manifested them.
Yeah. And so you went from learning how to fire tent and fire tending to then walking over the fire. So switching from being student to being participant to being instructor. I mean, it's such a wonderful training because it holds you in the centre of it 100% of the time. Not just the tool of, this is how you do it. So I'm a massive believer in the quality of someone's transformation will be the quality of your leader's transformation.
Do you know the story of the butterfly? Do you tell that one in your coaching?
No, you share it though, because you have shared it in the last podcast, I think.
Did I?
Yeah, about it. Go on, you share it for anybody that's not watched the last one.
Everybody knows how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. Builds a cocoon, goes inside for more than 2 weeks, and it emerges as a beautiful butterfly. But what most people don't know is what happens to the caterpillar inside the cocoon. It breaks itself down into literal goo. Somehow, it knows by instinct, by evolution, by DNA coding, that what it has to do is to break itself down into an icky, sticky, gross mess inside that cocoon. And then somehow through cells, through encoding, through DNA, it rebuilds itself and emerges and transforms into something beautiful. And I'm not saying you turned us into literal goo.
She's definitely not saying that.
But we did emerge as something beautiful.
Yeah, well, to me, when you arrived, I could see it. But then what I would notice is where, for whatever reason, each person couldn't see it in themselves. And my work wasn't done until you saw what I could see. But there's something else about that butterfly, I think, isn't it, that the breaking through the cocoon is what strengthens their wings so they can fly, isn't that?
Oh, I don't know that bit, but it makes sense.
I think it's the butterfly. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But because it would be so easy just to break that cocoon and release somebody, but actually the whatever gets strengthened in the breaking through the cocoon is the strength they need to then be able to fly. So that's why we don't rescue people, because the strength they need, if somebody's in a moment, however long that moment might be, it's important that they come to their own decisions, their own choices. We don't rescue because it's in their decision, in their coming back to who they are, is where all the gems are.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to ask you. What we were saying. Yeah, a little drink. I'll remember to edit this bit out. I know what I'll ask. In your experienced opinion, who do you think this training is for?
The Firewalk.
Yeah. Who do you think it suits?
I think it suits values-led, heart-led, impact-led folk who want to have a significant impact in the world, who know they've got a big mission, and they are looking for a modality to help people. It's maybe people who are coaches or leaders or in the wellness professions who it's reductive to say that it's another tool for the toolkit, because it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
But it's maybe that the way that they are currently helping people isn't quite reaching all the parts that they know that they could.
Yeah.
And they want to go deeper with the work they are doing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. So, my lovely, what do you want people to know about your world and what you're going to be doing that we haven't already covered?
At Wild Edge Works, we want to set the gold standard in founder-led leadership. I think the work that we are doing is how we solve the economy, how we solve the country. You know, the old boys have had their turn.
Yeah.
at running the country, and I hope, it's my hope and dream, it's my mission to help heart-led, impact-led, values-led founders and strategic leaders of business step up into being the leader that their business needs them to be. And the work that we are doing is perfect to not just make the business perform better, it's not about that, but it's about helping them take a level up in terms of their identity and just have more fun in what they're doing, to dream bigger, to dare greatly, to be unapologetically, authentically them.
We speak about heart-led a lot, don't we? And we say it effortlessly.
Oh, the irony.
The word effortless was so effortless to say. But we mean it. Yeah. Heart-led matters. How would you describe what heart-led is and what it isn't?
Heart-led, for me, is somebody who is willing to be vulnerable, somebody who is willing to be raw and messy and make unpopular decisions because they know it's the right thing to do. It's not about being emotional or wearing your heart on your sleeve or anything like that, but it's about looking at what makes sense on paper and checking in with your heart first before you take any action. And it's not about ignoring the logic and the business sense, but it's about recognising that we've got 3 different intelligence centres, the head, the heart and the gut as well, and seeking wisdom from all those places in order to lead a more robust, more meaningful business.
So, I mean, it's the becoming a human being, not a doing. You know, we see so many MDs of probably big corporations, and this is not all of them, to be sure, that have a plan and they just follow the plan. And it's at whatever cost plan. And this is really about who am I being, who am I bringing, and where we're going. Because I think heart-led is about it being driven by purpose, but purpose can't be money.
Yeah.
It can't be money, because it's not something we'll be glad we did when we're dead, but the difference we make and the impact we make in the world and the hearts that we touch and the connections we make and the people that we bring with us, I think that's purposeful. And people being real, I think what you've just described as, messy and vulnerable and checking in with what feels right for them, that's somebody remaining as a human being, not discarding themselves to become a human doing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I think as well there is a win-win, that when people are purpose-led, heart-led, all that stuff, the money comes.
Yes.
Because they attract the right sort of clients and the right sort of business.
Yeah.
But it can't be that first.
No, and it flows, doesn't it? It absolutely flows. What's your favourite quote? I don't mean like on a proposal. I like it to end in 4 zeros at least.
There's an immediate favourite quote that comes to mind, and let's be clear, I want this to apply to all humans, but the one that immediately popped into my head when they asked the question was, well-behaved women seldom make history.
Oh, what great permission.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that unapologetic showing up for yourself in your life.
Yeah.
And when you do that, good things happen.
Yeah. And when you're true to yourself, it's that being true to yourself. And I feel like that it just made me think about when you follow what your heart wants rather than what somebody else is doing, and you follow your own calling, you notice the things that cause you anguish and anger. And I always think those things that cause you anguish and anger are, your problem is your purpose. When you follow that, that's what came to mind when you said well-behaved women don't make history. We never set out to make history, it just happens. I think if we set out to make it, then
it's not heart-led.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not authentic. It's becoming, it's an ego, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so I love that. My favourite quote is that I think ties into what you do, which is life is not measured by the number of breaths that we take, but the moments that take our breath away.
Nice.
And so I was inspired to say that because I can just imagine somebody being, in a tarn or top of a mountain, walking on fire. Those are, when we look back at life, and we're replaying those magical moments. We're not replaying the gaps between them. We're playing those series of magical moments.
It's the moments of awe I was speaking about.
Yeah,
before.
Yeah.
Nobody can take those experiences away from you.
No. Well, I think anybody that is watching this, I'm going to put Claire's details in the description, and if you're ready for a day, a week, a weekend that is going to open you up and create a transformation, get in touch with Claire. Claire, it's been absolutely my honour to have you in the studio, on the training, and in my life forever. If that sounded like a threat.
Promise.
It was a promise. Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much.